cocktail of chemicals, to watermelons exploding due to being overly juiced with growth hormones, to rat meat sold as pork. Scandals over poisonous toxic food have sickened and killed thousands. If there was ever a quintessential Chinese comfort food, wonton noodle soup would be it. Once a meal reserved for emperors and described as the swallowing of clouds, today it's served on almost every street in China. One bowl, with its noodles, veggies, and pork dumplings, is supposed to contain all the nutrients you need. But recent scandals over poisonous toxic food have sickened and killed thousands. Adulterated food products are putting lives at risk. In an undercover investigation, we take a closer look at the ingredients that go into wonton soup and find a food industry serving up a cocktail of chemicals. From the vast farmland of the world's largest food-producing nation to its markets and kitchens, adulterated food products are putting lives at risk. And it's troubling for the rest of the globe too, as made-in-China food is increasingly being exported to a table near you. I'm Steve Chow. On this edition of 101 East, we're chasing a toxic trail of ingredients tainting China's food supply. And we're doing it by following the making of one of Asia's most iconic dishes, a seemingly simple bowl of wonton noodle soup. Long before others are up, Chef Wu Jinyun is already starting his day. One of China's most renowned wonton soup makers. He's spent every morning since his youth working up the perfect bowl. It's a labor of love.
My family has done this for generations. When this skill was passed on to me, I vowed to give it my 100%, so people can taste the same traditional bowl of noodle soup as centuries ago.
With recent scandals in China over tainted food, Wu's agreed to show us how real food should be made. The key to great taste, he says, is using natural ingredients, nothing artificial. Another ingredient is time. He stews his broth for hours. Only at sunrise does Wu turn his attention to other elements of the wonton dish. Flour and eggs are mixed, kneaded, and pounded into dough until it becomes the right consistency to be cut into his signature noodles.
My noodles are made by hand and with lots of patience. Only the exact amount of time and ingredients will get it tasting silky smooth.
Wu knows to many his methods seem slow and outdated, especially in the fast-paced world of the new modern China. Today, the busy lives of a new generation has meant people want their food quickly. The danger, Wu says, is they have little time to think about what they're putting into their mouths. That, he says, allows a profit-hungry food industry to take advantage. I've come to Beijing, the heart of the country, to meet a man who promises to show me the dark and dirty secrets of the food trade. Hey, Wang 先生你好。
哎，你好，你好，你好。
所以你大概做菜20多年了？
到目前为止24年。
24年。For more than 20 years, Wang Zhichang has worked as a chef in a multitude of restaurants and has made more than his fair share of wonton noodles. But as each year goes by, he feels lives are increasingly being put at risk.
At
the moment, the public can't even fathom the scale of how much illegal additives are being used in food. China's safety problem has reached such epic proportions that it needs to be addressed. The problem is so extreme.
We come to a wholesale market, which I'm told sells many illegal food additives. Filming with hidden cameras, we make our way through the rows of shops. They offer everything a modern restaurant needs, all in large quantities. The first store Wang takes me to has walls stocked with bottles upon bottles of chemicals. They're additives, and according to Wang, some of them are toxic. Harmful industrial solvents like melamine have on occasion been found inside these chemical mixes. Wang zeroes in on ones that simulate the flavor of the meat in wontons. With them, he says, you don't have to use any real meat when cooking. At a second store, Wang asks for a flavoring for his wonton soup, one that will substitute for hours of stewing. Then suddenly, he decides to put the shopkeeper on the spot. She's either misguided or outright lying. Under Chinese law, selling items without detailed lists of ingredients is a crime. With the shopkeeper getting suspicious, we quickly buy the soup flavoring along with other additives and leave. We head for Wang's kitchen.
今天晚上我们到市场，你看采购了很多种的添加剂。
Wang wants to show me how easy it is to make a fully artificial bowl of wonton noodles, one he says many restaurants today serve. He guarantees it will taste exactly like the real thing.
普通的我们的面粉。
Master Wu, the authentic wonton soup maker, uses eggs to give his noodles texture and color. Wang adds a mysterious white powder to flour. He says he has no idea what it's made of, but it's a fraction of the cost of eggs and gives the dough its needed consistency.
这么一按，你看很有弹性，这面就算修好了。
There's no need to spend hours working the dough. In just a few minutes, it's ready to be cut into noodles. For the wontons, Master Wu uses real pork meat for the filling. But Wang says many restaurants these days use an artificial filler. It's basically another powder. But when water is added, the transformation to meat begins. Again, we have no idea what it's made of.
这么看呢，我们现在呢还不像猪肉馅，是吧？缺少什么呀？缺少颜色。那么怎么办啊？我们下面再加一种橙红色的着色剂。
Wang says the use of colored additives beyond the legal limits set by the government is a common practice.
闻闻它的香味还没有，那么香味怎么办呀？
Thanks to our range of unknown substances, we see what started out as powder take on the smell, taste, and texture of real meat.
不错，感觉就是猪肉的香味也有了。
Wang begins to cook the wontons and noodles. What took Master Wu hours is ready in just a few minutes.
好，我们现在这一碗色香美味的云吞面就做好了。
While the thought is a bit disgusting, it's time for a taste test. So Master Wang says that this fake bowl of wonton noodle soup tastes exactly like the real thing.
OK。
It's time to give it a try. There's certainly lots of flavor. The texture may not be exactly right, but if you were sitting in a restaurant slurping this down, you probably couldn't tell the difference. The big question is, what is this bowl doing to your body? But Wang says it's profit, not health, that restaurants are concerned about. This bowl costs just 20 cents to make. It's 5 times cheaper than making it with real ingredients.
这种人的这种利益熏心。
These vendors are blinded by greed. The temptation of money has corroded the souls of many people. They put profit above all other things.
To find out just what toxins are lurking inside, we send our additives, along with our fake bowl of wontons, to a lab for testing. Meanwhile, we decide to delve further into the issue and visit more additives markets around the country. We want to try to buy borax. It's a chemical once commonly used to bleach noodles, but was banned last year in China. Borax is considered a poison. It's also a pesticide and fungicide. With hidden cameras rolling, my translator and I pose as restaurateurs and visit this shop.
龙虾就工业级的话，
你们有没有卖的？
工业就有。
一瓶是500克的。
对对对。
那个
7块。7
块。
We were very clear with the shopkeeper just now that we wanted to buy borax to use in noodles, and still he was willing to sell it to us. 500 grams or half a kilo is going for about $1.50 US. Considering how cheap that is, you have to suspect that it's still being commonly used in noodles, despite it being illegal to do so. In 2008, unscrupulous food producers were caught targeting the most vulnerable. Hundreds of thousands of children were rushed to hospital after they were fed toxic melamine in their infant formula. Normally used to make plastics and tabletops, investigators discovered producers were using it to artificially boost protein levels in milk powder. Once eaten, it can cause kidney stones and kidney failure. While 21 food producers in all were found guilty, the government sent only a handful of people to jail. 2 were executed. To this day, 8-year-old Xini Lin has yet to recover from the melamine that poisoned her. Her mother has invited us to join them on one of their regular visits to hospital. Xini Lin looks like any other energetic child, but her mom says she's often very sick.
She's extremely weak and constantly feels pain in her back near the kidneys. Sometimes her face turns green and her lips get pale. She's even passed out before.
Today, Xini Lin is going for an ultrasound. Our producer takes her in as we film with hidden cameras. Xini Lin's mom says the state-run hospital has been covering up how sick her daughter really is in order to downplay the melamine scandal. Inside, the medical technician gets Xini Lin ready for the ultrasound, which is supposed to determine if she has kidney stones. Right from the start, the technician seems suspicious.
你 B 超做了好几次了是吧？1年1次吧。1年1次做起来都没什么情况呢，有没有？反正医生有时候就是跟我们讲是双肾的多还是结石。
In the first ultrasound before the melamine scandal became big news, doctors discovered she had a number of stones. Another clinic confirmed that diagnosis. But in following tests after the scandal, the state-run hospital changed their tune. And today is no different. But our producer sees white spots in the kidney scans and pushes the technician for answers.
右肾有一点点异样强光灯，我们老是钙化灯，这个吗？没有，这里没有。不是那个，其实不是这个亮点，是吗？这个没有，没看。
While denying there's anything seriously wrong, doctors continue to give Xini Lin Chinese herbal medicine to help clear the calcification. Unable to afford expensive private clinics, her family has no choice but to come back to the state-run hospital. Her mother sees at what she sees as injustice.
没有看到，半年都没看到，我看到的只是打压。
The government hasn't done anything. It only covers things up and evades responsibility. Officials from the province and village level have even warned me they will arrest me if I don't keep quiet.
Without much money, Xini Lin resorts to questionable household remedies, like jumping on a trampoline to try to shake the kidney stones out. The vegetables they eat come from their own garden and are pesticide-free. The family also goes to great lengths to ensure the rest of the food they eat is organic. Still, whenever her mother sees her ill, it breaks her heart. Why do you keep speaking out, despite the threats, despite the orders to stay silent?
女儿就是一切，她是我生命的延续。
She's all that I have, and they've hurt my most beloved. It's not about money. It's more importantly because I cannot tolerate their treatment.
Without public accountability, her mother believes more children will be hurt by tainted food. Since the melamine scandal, there have been numerous other examples, from the sale of oil recycled from the gutter, to watermelons exploding due to being overly juiced with growth hormones, to rat meat sold as pork. Policing the world's most populous nation isn't easy. In 2012, more than half of all food producers failed government tests. And even today, in places like wet markets, many sellers remain unlicensed. The Chinese government gave the responsibility for ensuring food safety to 10 different ministries. You can imagine the complications that causes and the overlapping jurisdictions. Now the Chinese government is trying to change things. Officials say they are now centralizing control under a few ministries and are also drafting what they hail as their toughest food law to date. But at this market in the capital, food safety expert Fan Ronghui finds lots of things still wrong, including excessive growth hormones in produce like bean sprouts.
Likely something was used, like plant growth regulator, that can make the sprouts grow to this shape and size.
At this stall, the shopkeeper dodges our cameras. That leads Fan to inspect the cow tripe. It smells of industrial chemicals. We ask him to buy the tripe and go to our next location, where Fan has set up a portable food testing kit. Tripe is a popular ingredient in noodle soups in Asia. But Fan says in China, many vendors use industrial chemicals to make it appear fresher. He applies a testing agent. 哇，有变颜色。
变颜色是吧？而且非常快的变颜色。
所以这个是什么意思？
你看到颜色变得很好看了。但是说这说明一个问题，第一说工业碱。
The color, says Fan, indicates that industrial-grade sodium hydroxide is present. Normally used in metal making and printing, some use it illegally to preserve food. Being highly corrosive, it's not meant to be ingested.
为什么现在很多医院人满为患？
Why are hospitals now so crowded? People are getting sick, not due to natural reasons like getting old, but because of the unsafe food we are eating that makes us ill.
While in Beijing, we're invited to an expo on food safety. It seems after the recent food scandals, the government is abandoning its usual rhetoric. The official here offers a realistic picture of the challenges they face.
食品安全领域仍然存在的生产和安全管理水平还不高，法制和标准体系还不完善。商务部会同有关部门。
Afterwards, I try to get in a word with the official to ask him about the government's efforts. 我们怎么处理这个食品安全的问题？什么问题啊？ But he waves us off and prefers instead to rub elbows with companies marketing the latest in clean food technology. Food safety is a big business opportunity in China these days, and there are lots of vendors eager to share the limelight with an important government official. After chasing him around for quite some time, he suddenly decides to leave. Well, we've been trying to get a comment from this official, but obviously he's not interested in talking with us. It's a little bit frustrating because we chased him all through this exhibition. Despite that, he's leaving now. To learn more about the government's efforts, we speak to a researcher at a state-funded institute. He insists the food safety situation has changed.
政府监管部门确实在08年之后
Since 2008, government departments have made many efforts in food supervision. They're trying to improve the safety of the whole food supply system. And I can say food safety in China is now guaranteed.
But that's certainly not what we discover. Pork is a key ingredient to wonton noodles, and so we decide to visit a pig farm. No one's around at this one, but littering the ground are numerous packages of medicine. So we go in for a closer look. In 2012, China produced more than 50 million metric tons of pork. That's several times more than any other country on the planet.
And what do we have here? Wow. This is a shelf full of chemicals.
They're drugs meant to treat all sorts of livestock sicknesses. Some even advertise that they can help pigs grow faster.
Oh wow, look at this. This is a box of general antibiotics. You can see the powder here. The government has been trying to get tougher on the amount of antibiotics as well as growth hormones being used in farm animals. But as you can see here, this whole shelf is full of it. And you have to wonder what kind of chemical cocktail these pigs are being injected with.
Studies show the overuse of antibiotics, especially in livestock, are creating bacteria resistant to medicine. and those bacteria can easily jump to humans when we consume the meat.
Hey there.
One of the owners suddenly appears. We turn on our hidden cameras and pose as tourists. My translator joins me as we take a tour around the farm. He admits no one controls how much medicine he uses. He also shows us the feed, known often to contain growth hormones. He says in just a few months, his pigs gain more than 100 kilos. We then ask him about business cards found outside his gate, offering to buy sick and dead pigs. Selling sick and dead animals is illegal, but it's not the only problem we find in the area. Another issue is the overuse of pesticides. Recent studies show that most farmland in China is today heavily contaminated by them. Scattered around this farm, we find used pesticide packages. Wang Jing from Greenpeace joins us here. She spent the last 4 years studying the impact of insecticides.
这里是辅酶和辅美霜是2种有效成分混合的一种农药。
Some of them have been banned since the 1980s. Greenpeace's own research found farmers in China on average use up to 5 times the amount of pesticides as elsewhere in the world. On one farm, the group filmed pesticides killing chicks on the spot. The group says oftentimes more than a dozen different toxins are used together.
Today in China, our addiction to pesticides and fertilizers is making food safety the most serious of issues. Not a single day passes where we feel safe and happy with our lives, because this issue has yet to be addressed.
As public alarm grows over the harm of toxins, some in the food industry are stepping in to help. These aren't shoppers. They're a team of inspectors Walmart has hired to make surprise visits to their 140 stores in China. After being caught in recent scandals over meat and other tainted products, the grocery giant is now spending more than $50 million to try to ensure their products are clean. The testers collect random samples, which are then taken to a mobile van. Each item is run through a cycle of tests. If pesticides, growth hormones, or toxic industrial agents are found, a supplier can be blacklisted. But Walmart's lead food inspector admits the industry is often one step ahead, introducing new harmful substances that tests can't detect.
This is really a tough battle. Like the saying goes, while the priest climbs a post, the devil climbs 10. But we're doing our best to constantly upgrade our testing capabilities to provide our customers with safe food.
The sheer volume of products Walmart must inspect is another challenge. This is one of their distribution centers. In many ways, it offers a small window into the huge difficulties that lie in policing the country's food supply chain. A difficulty that is becoming a global issue as China increasingly exports its food worldwide. Still, authorities argue they're already doing their best.
I'll challenge inspection chiefs from the US, the EU, the UK, or elsewhere to try and tackle the Chinese market. I don't think they would dare to.
But are authorities trying to make excuses for a lack of trying? In our undercover investigation following the trail of ingredients for wonton noodle soup, we found food suppliers operating with very little supervision and oversight, from the farms to the markets to the kitchens. As for the fake bowl of wonton noodles, our tests found a number of toxic substances. In the flour used for noodles, there was formaldehyde, which is used to preserve dead bodies. But when eaten, it can cause liver cancer. In the mysterious white powder which we use to give noodles their bouncy texture, there were poisonous metals like lead, cadmium, and arsenic. The lab also found borax. the same illegal chemical we found for sale at the additives market. It's so toxic that just a teaspoon can kill a child.